Hello folks, this is Fred Levi, the instructor for your course, and today we're going to talk about the Credit Repair Organizations Act, Section 1679H, Administrative Enforcement. So in general, compliance with the requirements imposed under the subchapter with respect to credit repair organizations shall be enforced under the Federal Trade Commission Act by the Federal Trade Commission. Violations of this subchapter treated as violations of the Federal Trade Commission Act. 1. In general. For the purpose of the exercise by the Federal Trade Commission of the Commission's functions and powers under the Federal Trade Commission Act, any violation of any requirement or prohibition imposed under this subchapter with respect to credit repair organizations shall constitute an unfair or deceptive act or practice in commerce in violation of Section 5A of the Federal Trade Commission Act. 2. Enforcement authority under the other law. All functions and powers of the Federal Trade Commission under the Federal Trade Commission Act shall be available to the Commission to enforce compliance with this subchapter by any person subject to enforcement by the Federal Trade Commission pursuant to this subsection, including the power to enforce the provisions of this subchapter in the same manner as if the violation had been a violation of any Federal Trade Commission trade regulation rule, without regard to whether the credit repair organization is engaged in commerce or meets any other jurisdictional test in the Federal Trade Commission Act. C. State action for violations. Authority of states. In addition to such other remedies as are provided under state law, whenever the chief law enforcement officer of a state or an official or agency designated by a state has reason to believe that any person has violated or is violating this subchapter, the state A. May bring an action to enjoin such violation. B. May bring an action on behalf of its residents to recover damages for which the person is liable to such residents under Section 1679G of this title as a result of the violation. And C. In the case of any successful action under subparagraph A or B, shall be awarded the cost of the action and reasonable attorney fees as determined by the court. 2. Rights of commission. Notice to commission. The state shall serve prior written notice of any civil action under paragraph 1 upon the Federal Trade Commission and provide the commission with a copy of its complaint, except in any case where such prior notice is not feasible, in which case the state shall serve such notice immediately upon instituting such action. B. Intervention. The commission shall have the right 1. To intervene in any action referred to in subparagraph A. 2. Upon so intervening, to be heard on all matters arising in the action, and 3. To file petitions for an appeal. 3. Investigatory powers. For purposes of bringing any action under the subsection, nothing in the subsection shall prevent the chief law enforcement officer or an official or agency designated by a state from exercising the powers conferred on the chief law enforcement officer or such official by the laws of the such state to conduct investigations or to administer oaths or affirmations or to compel the attendance of the witnesses or the production of documentary and other evidence. And finally, 4. Whenever the Federal Trade Commission has instituted a civil action for violation of this subchapter, no state may, during the pendency of such action, bring an action under this section against any defendant named in the complaint of the Commission for any violation of this subchapter that is alleged in that complaint.